Like they say, a win is a win, and when they haven't been coming for a long, long time, and it's been since late last season, well, we'll take it. Nebraska gets one on the board against North Dakota on Saturday at Lincoln Memorial Stadium, and they'll keep moving on toward this Georgia Southern game coming up here on Saturday. This is our Nebraska show that we bring you each and every Tuesday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And we don't have a show without this guy, Greg Peterson, Husker Online. Greg, how you doing?
Doing well, Mark. How about you?
I'm doing just fine. And before we get going here, we want to remind everyone that our show here is brought to you by Gene Arthur Associates, and we'll tell you a little bit more about all the great benefits you get there when you grab the instant quote from Gene Arthur Associates. Just takes a second, bam, instant quote, and you may save yourself some money. So if you go to the description section of any video here at Nebraska Voice of College Football, or of course, we'll leave the link in the live chat. It's at www.jaainsurance.com and get your instant quote right there. Well, it's a win, Greg.
Yeah, it was a win.
And it was tied at 17, and then Nebraska dominated the last 10 minutes to fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was ugly in the first half. And I think Nebraska made some changes at halftime and really kind of came out fired up and pretty much dominated that whole second half. So, you'll take it. But I just from where I was in the end zone, standing next to a state trooper as it's going into halftime, tied at 7. And I was talking to the trooper. I was like, I wonder how many of these people that are leaving right now to go out for halftime are going to come back. And you know what? They came back. So, Nebraska played well in the second half. The defense picked them up a little bit. And, they finished it out. And I think it was a tough week anyway, just leading up to the game with the travel lag from coming back from Ireland, and a lot of people got sick. I got sick as well. The day after we did the show last week, I wasn't feeling very good. I'm still not over it. So, there were a lot of things that went into I think the performance in the first half, but at least hopefully, and this is just me saying and some other people's opinions that maybe their performance in the second half got them excited and they're ready to go for Georgia Southern here this Saturday night.
Well, Greg, here's one thing that has been figured out about this football team. We talked about the running back position the entire offseason and tried to figure out who's going to get carries and how is that all going to get worked out. Well, Anthony Grant, he's the man. He is the man, and he was dragging folks all over the field on Saturday.
Well, yeah, he's already proven it 2 weeks in a row now. He won the starting position back in spring ball, and they kept saying it was an open competition, but he's been the lead dog there the whole time, and you're starting to see just such a special player that he is, and I hope people understand the kind of the meat grinder that this guy has gone through throughout his college career. I mean, he's a fifth-year junior right now, and he started off at Florida State. And, when there was a coaching change there at Florida State, he basically was shown the door. And then he went to JUCO in Kansas and had an incident there. And ended up having to leave there and ended up at New Mexico Military and was the junior college player of the year last year. And you can see why now. You can see why. And it's kind of funny how he kind of landed into Nebraska's lap. And so, he's been a special story. And, it's kind of funny. I mean, people are already kind of anointing him and everything. It's 2 games, but you know what? You can tell when a dude's a dude. You can tell when he comes to walking into the door, and he's got that kind of potential, and it's going to be exciting to see. I mean, you know, granted that was a pretty impressive performance against North Dakota, but you know, the competition is going to get a little bit stiffer. But he showed it against Northwestern as well. So yeah, he's definitely the lead dog now in that running back room, and AJ Allen's also proven himself to be a pretty solid number 2 guy that's also very talented. And you know, today at the press conference after practice this morning, Mark Whipple, offensive coordinator Mark Whipple, had been asked about the running backs, and he'd also said that you know, Jacques Wesnian had a good practice week. Dave Urban's been having a good practice week, and you know, Ramir Johnson's that one guy that's kind of left out there that everybody keeps asking about, and you know, you want to start seeing him get involved, obviously, because he's a very talented player. But yeah, you know, they're going with what they got right now. That's basically the hot hand, and obviously Anthony Grant has turned into a pretty darn good looking running back in all of college football through 2 weeks of play.
Appreciate everybody being here. Our Huskers live show every Tuesday at 6 Central Time. We got Greg Peterson on the line. Of course we do. He's here every week. He makes the show go. You can catch his work at Husker Online and right here on YouTube or huskeronline.com. And again, appreciate everybody being here. We'll get to your comments and questions. We got a game against Georgia Southern coming up on Saturday. That's a night game, isn't it?
Night game, yes, under the lights here in Lincoln. So it should be fun.
Big Ten Network, I believe.
Big Ten, yep.
Saturday night.
Absolutely. 6:30. I think 6:30, right? Gotta be TV time. Yeah.
Right. I think I was playing right before that.
Anyway, yeah, under the lights. It'll be fun.
Trey Palmer made some big plays on Saturday. He got loose a couple times.
Yeah, you know, this guy's an electric player, and he's turned into the kind of guy that you thought he was going to be. And, you know, some days he's going to have some electric plays and not get in the scoring column. And other nights, I think you're going to see him having big nights too. So, yeah, he's got a good connection going with Casey Thompson. And he's definitely one of the leaders there on that offensive side of the ball. And, you know, he's played a lot of football already, you know, down in his days at LSU. So, he's a great looking player, and I expect big things for the rest of the season from him.
All right, Greg, but before we get to some more nuts and bolts football, what was the mood like in that stadium the later it got in through the third quarter? You mentioned tie game at 7 at half, but it was 17-all. Forget exactly what time of the game, but that had to be late third quarter, early fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was mid third quarter.
Yeah. So what was the mood in that stadium at that point?
It really was. I had commented several times with the you know, the people, you know, standing around me, the various photographers, videographers, and security personnel, and I commented a couple times that it was so quiet in there. It was kind of creepy. You know, all you could hear was what was playing on the big screen, and yeah, at times it was really weird. It wasn't, there wasn't a lot of juice. I even thought before, even going into pregame, well, I was standing out there on the field during pregame and doing my thing, and when they go into their calisthenics mode, you know, after everybody comes out and then warms up a little bit, and they go into their team calisthenics, and they finished it off. And I was like, there's just no juice here. And then I kept saying that to myself in the first quarter, second quarter, and into the third quarter. And then after things start getting rolling, you know, Garrett Nelson comes up with a big sack and strip, and Stephon Wynn recovers the fumble, and then O'Shawn Mathis gets a sack, and things turned around, and the crowd. I mean, the crowd, to their credit, they stayed there the whole time. So I mean, it might have been quiet at times, but they stayed behind the team, and in the end, at least the whole fourth quarter, it was back over to the same old sea of red.
Yeah, because the pass defense, statistically at least, was sound. They only gave up about 130 yards through the air, but they got gashed in the run game. That's
It's
where
been a
North
problem.
Dakota hung around.
Yeah, it's been a problem, and you also you have to look back at missed tackles again. Um, you know, North Dakota went on that drive there in the third quarter. I believe it was a 12 play or maybe a 15 play drive that they went on, and Nebraska had them in third and long twice during that series and just couldn't get off the damn field. And that's a problem because there's key missed tackles in both times that not just in that drive. In that drive, they'd gotten like it was long. They got like 1 yard short and then went for it on fourth down and got it. But there was another drive that they scored on earlier that there was a missed tackle on there that you could have pinned them, and they would have had to punt, but they ended up getting the first down, and that winded up being a score as well. So, yeah, there's been a lot of mistakes, and you're also looking at that middle linebacker spot that Nick Henrich didn't play. I mean, he's the captain on this team, and his hand's in a cast right now, so we don't really know. Obviously, he's not going to be playing this Saturday, but you're missing one of your leaders out there, and basically you started a freshman in Ernest Hausman, and he played well. He played a lot of snaps. Look at the PFF numbers on Ernest Hausman. I think he played about 50 some snaps or 40 some snaps. They spelled him with Chris Klarvik, and you got some decent play out of there, but you didn't get the numbers out of Luke Reimer that you're usually looking for, and Caleb Tanner got in there a few times, but there's still some problems that they're trying to work out, and one of the problems also was North Dakota substituted late in a lot of their possessions, which kind of threw off. Nebraska's still got a lot of young guys out there playing, and with late substitutions, you have to change things around. And so Nebraska got caught, at the line of scrimmage at the snap. They got caught, and they're still kind of moving around and still trying to point where you want to go and stuff. And North Dakota caught them on that a couple of times. And hey, that's gamesmanship anyway. I mean, that's solid coaching. So North Dakota is no slouch, but don't look at me and think I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, thinking that they're world beaters in the FCS. They're not. But there's a lot of things to work on, and we'll see what happens here this Saturday. If we see a vast improvement, or if it's the same old thing.
Because we all remember the last time Nebraska won a football game was against Northwestern. Unfortunately, they played Northwestern since then. So the last time they won was October 2nd, 11 months ago.
Yep, it was a long streak.
7 consecutive losses.
Yep.
Those were all Big Ten games.
They were.
Yeah, Michigan, Minnesota, Purdue, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern. So a lot of good teams in there, but still losing them all. All right, well, they should win 2 straight, but can't take anything for granted. And Georgia Southern shows up on Saturday night.
Coached by Clay Helton, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The former USC head coach, of course.
And with a quarterback that played here against Nebraska last year at Buffalo.
Oh, okay. I've heard a few people make the claim that even though it's Georgia Southern, that you got to think that most of their athletes are from the state of Georgia. I haven't looked up the roster, but that athletically they might be a pretty decent challenge because of that.
Obviously, yes. I've spent a lot of time in the state of Georgia covering high school prospects and covering college football, and Georgia Southern's always full of athletes, and yeah, they're going to present a challenge to Nebraska in a different way than they've seen, so far in their first 2 games. So, yeah, my guess is as good as yours is what we're going to see as a product on the field on Saturday night. But hopefully Nebraska is prepared and ready for the challenge.
I'm looking at the roster right now. It's exactly what anybody would think it is. It's a ton of Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama.
Yeah.
Got a Michigan kid, Pennsylvania. There's a few sprinkled in there, but yeah, it's all Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama. There it is. All right. We got Frank, so we appreciate you being here, sir. Greg and Mark, have you thought about bringing on? No, we've not thought about that.
About bringing on what?
Thought about bringing on JD Pickle from On3 to one of these shows.
Oh.
Folks, we will always take into consideration whomever you would like us to bring on, but certainly let us know. I'm not going to keep any kind of a list based on who you put in the chat here, but you can hit me up at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Yes, triple option. I guess they still run that at Georgia Southern. That's what they were running here recently.
The good old days. I didn't see anybody saying bring back the fullback yet tonight.
Not yet. Thomas wants to scrap the season already.
A lot of football left to play.
A couple people noted earlier that they want to see more of Stephon Wynn.
You know what? I think, that was something that we kind of talked about earlier today after practice, that, the big fella might have gotten a fire lit under him. He actually played pretty well against North Dakota. He came up with the fumble recovery, and I think he started to finally get the motor turning a little bit. So look out for Stephon Wynn. I think he might start making a difference in there. That's kind of my opinion, but you know what? I think he's ready to go. He wants to break out.
Anything in particular on Casey Thompson? Threw a pick, couple touchdown passes.
Yeah, the one thing I worry about with Casey Thompson is his durability. He took a few shots. Actually went into the medical tent at one point, and Chubba Purdy started to warm up. And they need to protect him a lot better. And at least right now, before you start getting into the meat of the schedule, because, if he takes a lot of hard shots, I'm not sure how durable he really is at this point. With the turnovers, one of those was a fumble on a sack, and then he did throw that bad interception that actually we'd asked Mark Whipple about this morning, and that was a different look that North Dakota had given him, and Casey, when he came off the field after that pick, he went right to Mark Whipple and said, I did not see that linebacker there at all. And it was something that Nebraska had never seen before. And so Mark Whipple, took some of the blame for that as well. And it was just a really good play by the North Dakota defense, really. So you can take that for what it's worth. But Casey Thompson's not the kind of guy that gets shaken by throwing an interception either. He's a gamer. He comes right back in there. And I think they only ran one time with a designed run for him as well, and so I think they're kind of picking and choosing their times to let him go on the ground, just because I think they want to try to keep him as fresh as possible right now.
Husker fans, we know you're not too happy with the season thus far, but keep in mind that is a win. That's a win for the first time in 8 games, and time to get another one coming up this Saturday against Georgia Southern. And, of course, we've got the fine folks at Gene Arthur Associates backing us here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate them. You can help yourself out, folks. We all need some level of insurance for something. You can help yourself out by getting an instant quote on home, auto, motorcycle, and boat, RV, health, dental, life, and other type of commercial package policies. It's all covered. Go to Gene Arthur Insurance at www.jaainsurance.com. I'm going to leave the link in the chat. You can also catch it in the description section of any of the videos right at the top. Gene Arthur Associates Insurance. And keep in mind that, of course, you're there to help yourself out, get the best possible coverage at the best possible rate. But in addition to that, you can feel good about helping out a number of families in need through the donations that come through Gene Arthur Associates. And we'll keep this up on the screen for a few minutes here as Huskers Live is brought to you by Gene Arthur Associates. First time, Greg, as a big-time college football player that A.J. Allen has gotten a look and gotten some time. And he showed up pretty well, scored a touchdown, 58 yards on 11 carries.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned that earlier, that he's now kind of proven himself to be a really solid number 2 guy that's a very talented guy as a freshman. And, and like we mentioned earlier, that, when you see a guy come through the doors and you say, that guy's a dude, that's one of those guys you say is a dude. I remember about a month ago during fall camp, and my coworker was asking about numbers on running backs and stuff, and the 2 guys that I pointed out, I'm like, well, yeah, there's Anthony Grant right there, and there's A.J. Allen right there. They're both specimens. And I think you're both seeing that kind of come to fruition right now. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch you got going on right now. And obviously with a lot of other talented guys still in that room, all vying for playing time. So, Nebraska's in their running back situations in one of the better spots they've been in since, they were churning out NFL running backs year in and year out. So I like it. I like seeing these guys, and the more success Anthony Grant has, the more success A.J. Allen's going to have as well.
Benjamin. All right. Mark, you need to have Connor on from Corn Crazed. We can do that. I'll reach out. Corn Crazed podcast. All right. And Benjamin also wants
they all want me out of here.
Wants the celebrity here. No. Not at all. Not at all. We've got plenty of shows where we bring on 3 and 4 media people. So, we will take some. Nobody wants that, Greg. Nobody wants that.
I'm just joking.
Not at all. You are the core. You are the core. But yeah, some different perspective. It pushes me more out of the way. That's what that does. But you know what Benjamin's also looking at here in the super chat. He says, yeah, we want Connor on from Corn Craze. Greg, I need you to sign my Nebraska signature ball this weekend.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay.
Have to meet me. You have to let me know when you're down there. You'd meet me. I can meet you on the Nebraska sideline outside the gate there, anywhere behind the Nebraska bench during the game at any time, or pregame as well.
That's pretty cool.
I'm not hard to find. I'm there all the time. All you gotta do is get my attention, and I'll come off. I can come off the field.
Never mind me says, what was our punt returner doing on that kick where the ball was about to be blown dead and he decided to pick it up? So there's that. And we'll put together with that, Greg, another comment that came in, if I can find it. Anyway, I'll find it here in a second. Basically, somebody, I don't know if they added this up, but they said we only had, Nebraska's only had like 31 yards in punt returns in the last 14 games. I don't know if that's true, but so issues in the punt return game.
I don't really think so. I mean, it's 2 games into the season, and there really haven't been a lot. I mean, 90% of the punts have been fair catches. And I'm not sure. I mean, usually, I guess, obviously, the game dictates that. Now, on that play, yeah, it was kind of boneheaded. I don't understand why it's right in front of the Nebraska bench. Okay, it's a blocked punt, and stay away from it. Unless it's bouncing right and you're running full speed, get the hell away from it. And it's right in front of your own bench, and I don't understand. I'm sure everybody's yelling at, get away, get away, get away. I think there's just some confusion that just like thinking that, oh, is this a live ball or not a live ball? Yeah, it's a live ball. If you touch it, then Northwestern can pounce all over it. But I think it was just a thing. It was just caught in the moment kind of thing, and everything else was drowned out in his ears. And but there hasn't been any setbacks in the return game whatsoever. And he reversed it on the other side is that nobody's even had a run back. Nobody's everything's the kicking side of it's been really good. So right now your special teams through 2 games have not hurting you once at all, and that's an improvement from last year.
I think we all also need to understand when these guys are on the field, and sure, they've prepped all these situations and so forth, but some of these unique kind of situations, they've probably only run through them a few times in practice. And they are 18 or 19 years old, and there is 80,000 people there. And shoot, think about all the times that each one of us have had a brain freeze with nobody watching us.
Well, yeah, I mean,
doing something at home.
And as soon as that punt, as soon as it got blocked,
yeah,
you couldn't hear yourself think. I mean, the crowd got that loud,
yeah.
and that's where you got to put him into right now. Is that he's just got that ringing in his ears too, and he's kind of just concentrating. But that's a small thing that didn't cost him anything. So it's neither here nor there.
Asawar asking, do you think Oklahoma can come to town and stop Nebraska's offense? Well, my 2 cents would be, depends what you determine to be stop them, like stop them from doing anything, from scoring at all. No, I don't think that's possible, but can they present a tremendous challenge? Yes. Oklahoma's got a head coach who's one of the best defensive coordinators in college football. And they've got a lot of talent on defense. They get a really good defense that showed up. I know they only played UTEP Saturday, but I think Oklahoma is going to have a top 25 to 30 defense in the country. So it's going to be a heck of a challenge.
Yeah, they're a top 10 team. I mean, yeah, obviously.
Yep.
I mean, it's obviously a game that Nebraska will not be favored in. So they're going to have to prove it to the rest of the nation if they're going to be able to play with Oklahoma.
Right, folks, Huskers Live. We're here every Tuesday. Come on back next week. Bring a friend or 2 or 50 with you. And it's our 86th edition. That's about a year and a half we've been doing this. Straight. Every Tuesday, we're here.
Rain or shine.
Franks, we have all these skill players. Use them. We have players that need to adjust to try different things.
I think they're spreading the ball around a lot of their skill players.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
Yeah, you've seen Alante Brown getting a lot of play here. Omar Manning just came back and made a few plays over the weekend, and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda had a big first game, and you didn't really see much of him this week, but they spread it around to a lot of guys. And you got to remember Travis Vokalek didn't play, and heck, 2 backup tight ends scored touchdowns, without Travis Vokalek in there. So, and you had a couple different running backs score, and I think they are trying to get their skill position guys involved in the game. Obviously, Trey Palmer is always going to be that number 1 target anyway, and Marcus Robinson's been a key factor as well. So I think they're trying to utilize everything they got.
So when you bring up Isaiah Castaneda, that's a good point. He had a big first game. He had over 100 yards receiving, and nothing in this game. Didn't see the field nearly as much.
Oh, he was out there.
He just
catches. Yeah. Just seeing any targets. But that's what happens when you have a bunch of weapons like that. I mean, not everybody can have a big day. You're spreading the ball around to a lot of different guys.
All right, folks. We're here talking Huskers. Catch Greg's work. HuskerOnline.com. Husker Online right here on YouTube. What's available over there right now?
Oh, we were rocking our practice coverage. Monday press conference yesterday, and all of our game coverage from the weekend, and today with our practice report, we debuted Steve Sipple with Sean Callahan for the first time together with our big practice report. So go over and check that out. Nobody else has anything like that, and nobody else could. So it's pretty special for first kind of a launch of our weekly practice report over at Husker Online, now that we're on the On3 network.
Awesome. All right. And we've got Nebraska post game here at the Voice of College Football after every Nebraska game. So join us here on the channel right here after the ball game. And again, it's a night game this week against Georgia Southern. Let's I'm gonna guess a point spread of 23.
I heard something like 20 something. I don't know if they put it on this. I can't. It's up there somewhere.
I can't tell you exactly what the numbers were, but you had a nice predictions week. Did you realize that?
No, I had not even looked at it.
You can catch Greg's picks along with a bunch of other media folks and myself on Patreon. Go to Patreon, search MarkRogersTV, sign up right there. You get our picks, and you get a whole lot of other things, including the Discord that you see at the bottom of the screen on the ticker there. But I don't want to tell you what your record was because I don't remember exactly, but it might have been I think it was the best of the week.
Wow. I'm very impressed with myself. Never done that.
Pats on the back.
Yeah. You know what? My week was, I was all excited to see game day Saturday morning, and then reality set in as I had to get in the shower and I had to get everything ready to go, and I wasn't feeling all that great, and so I kind of lipped myself down and hung out in the press box and had a media meal, and then went down to the field and didn't really get to see much college football besides like the last quarter of the Notre Dame Ohio State game after I got home, and was still trying to finish my work. So, but I did get to catch. That Sunday night game was pretty special, and I did see Clemson and Georgia Tech last night as well. So,
point spread on the ball game on Saturday night: Nebraska minus 23.5.
Yeah, there you go.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the spread was. but 23.5. Over under at 63. So that makes Nebraska a 43-20 winner, according to Vegas. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we've got
It'd be nice to see 40+ points put on the board for sure.
Unless we've got anything else here, we've got a few minutes, Greg. If you don't mind, we could take a couple calls right here on StreamYard.
You bet.
You want to do that?
Sounds fun.
Hey, we're going to open things up here. We're going to do what we do on our call-in shows all the time, folks. I'm dropping the link right in the chat.
Boom.
So there you go. You just got to grab that link, and you've got the option. If you just want to make it like a phone call, you don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want, but if you'd like to, that's fine. The only thing I ask is that you put your name in the private chat, and we're going to assume you're a Nebraska fan, but if you're not, that's fine. You can still call, but just let us know where you're calling from, like Jim from Nebraska is fine, or Jim from Lincoln. And if you root for another team, please put that in there as well. And again, we've had a few people that have requested this, so we've got it right there in the chat. Again, it says join the show in caps, and that's the link. You can join the show. Crypto King, appreciate you being here and encouraging everyone to hit the like button. Crypto King, thank you so much for that. Appreciate you being here. All right, we got Asawar calling. We believe Asawar is a Nebraska fan. Appreciate you being here, Asawar. How you doing today, sir?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing just fine. Welcome to our Nebraska show. Appreciate you always showing up. What's on your mind?
Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah, if you could just
yeah. Sorry about that.
That's fine. What do you got for us?
Well, my question was for you and Greg. Do you think Nebraska, if we beat OU, do you think that Frost will keep his job, or do you think it depends on the games with Indiana or Rutgers?
Well, obviously, you point at that Oklahoma game as a big game changer, right? One way or the other, in Coach Frost keeping his job. But you bring up a really good point because, you know, you have those two games, those two road games right there too. And I would think if Trev Alberts is going to make a move during the season, which is pretty much unprecedented in Nebraska, that it would be after the Indiana and the Rutgers road games, after the 1st of October. And then you might expect something to happen. I can tell you there's meetings going on. I mean, I have no clue who's in these meetings or anything, but there's obviously a lot of wheels in motion right now. And Coach Frost is not, he's on the hot seat, obviously. We all know that. So, but yeah, the key is that you have to beat Oklahoma even to have a chance, in my opinion.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it, guys. Didn't want to take too much time, so.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks. Fan of you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Asawar. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. All right. Very good.
Do the head coach thing. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Well, you know, I was just imitating Ed Ogeron there. Sorry.
Oh, Ogeron.
Well, I told him go Big Red. I said GBR going off there.
Why did Ogeron come up?
Okay, I've met him before. I like him.
Oh, he seems like a great guy to meet.
Yeah. But no, just like he'd always say, "Go Tigers!" You know, every time. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, that's all. That's all.
Go Tigers! I can't even get my voice to go down there.
Your Cajun accent.
All right, we have left the link in the live chat. If you want to join us, ask a question. We're also still taking comments and questions, of course, there in the live chat as well.
Yeah, a lot of people have been waiting for the old days when you're playing these non-conference games and you're rolling, 63-0 and stuff like that. And you always want to try to get back to that, but right now it's a struggle to really, I think teach a team to learn how to win when they haven't won a lot of games. They've been close, but boy, there's nothing like winning to, build confidence in you. And I just think they need that. They need to win this Saturday, and they need to win against Oklahoma. And you might see a pretty tough team because, in all reality, right now they've only lost one conference game. Everything's still in front of them at this point. So,
well, if they beat Oklahoma, from the standpoint of goodwill and perception and all those things, and obviously beating a top 10 team in the country, that's going to wipe out the Northwest. That makes up for the Northwestern game if they beat Oklahoma. Now, obviously, in the conference, it doesn't, because the Northwestern game's technically more important than the Oklahoma game because it's a conference game. You're trying to win the conference. So the conference games are more important. But from the standpoint of, is this program on the right track? Is the team getting better? Are they improving? Okay. If they beat Oklahoma, then we're back to square one in terms of, okay, this is an improved team. They're ready to roll. Let's see what happens this season. They win that game.
they're back on track.
Absolutely.
And you kind of look at the other night when Florida State beat LSU. That just set their season in that same direction that we're talking about Nebraska trying to set their direction. So, there's a lot on the line for that game. And, boy, wouldn't it be fun if that was night game instead of this week being a night game? But, we'll be there on big noon Saturday for Fox. But you know what? It's going to be a lot of fun for sure. And, I can't wait to see the Sooners back in Lincoln. It's going to be pretty amazing. I've had a lot of fond memories of watching that game played over my many years on this planet.
I always found the naming of that show, the Big Noon Kickoff, to be kind of a slight to the rest of the country. So basically they're saying, it's noon Eastern time. And even though 3/4 of the country is in a different time zone, we're just going by noon. And we've got a contract with the Big 10 and the Big 12 primarily. And most of those teams are in the central time zone and they're playing at 11 in the morning.
Yep.
But we're calling it the Big Noon Kickoff.
And nobody likes the 11 a.m. kickoff games.
Oh, man, no.
I guarantee you there's not a single soul that embraces that.
I don't mind it because I'm sitting at home and the first football I see is at noon. Is at noon, and that's fine. I can get a few things done in the morning, or I can just be super lazy and just sleep and lay around, and then boom, at noon I'm turning TV. But man, you got to go out there and play a football game at 11 in the morning.
And you got to think too. The team stays in a hotel, even if it's a home game. They're staying in a hotel, so that means they got to get up really early to get breakfast and get meetings in, and before they do all the stuff to get on the bus and go to the stadium. And it's luckily Nebraska practices in the morning, so that probably doesn't affect them as much as other teams that it might. But it's. And there, if you do look at the advantages, that you don't have your team sitting in the hotel all day either, waiting for a night game as well, because that can have its drawbacks as well. So,
and then also, my goodness, that's just. And during the COVID season, because the Pac-12 started playing after everybody else did, and the Pac-12 needed some kind of headliner or some kind of boost. They got USC and Arizona State out there at 9:00 in the morning on the West Coast to play. That's brutal for those athletes to try to have their bodies warmed up at, you're at the stadium almost every week. One of those guys hitting the field for warm-ups like an hour before the game.
Something. They come out a couple hours before and do their
Yeah.
walkthroughs and they get warmed up and everything, and then they'll come back out in like half dressed, and then they'll come out in full pads an hour before kickoff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think the coaches said before that game that they were going to have a breakfast at like 5:15 in the morning.
Yeah, that's rough. It really is. All for TV.
Yep, that's what it is.
Yep.
Colin J., do you think we'll see a lot of rotation in the secondary on Saturday with how much Georgia Southern likes to pass?
I think you're going to see more bodies get in there and get some playing time, and not to say that the guys that have been out there haven't been playing well. They have, but I do expect to see a few more guys in the rotation at all the secondary spots, and even at the linebacker spots too, as they're kind of working through things with injuries and everything. So, yeah, I mean, like we kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, that it's going to be a different look that Nebraska's seen so far. For the first two games, they've faced teams that have just wanted, get rid of the ball real quick. Don't let you get much time, in the rush game or in the rushing side of things. And, this team's going to come out and really wing the ball around and stuff too. So, yeah, I think it's going to present a different challenge to the secondary that Nebraska's, been used to so far. And they're going to need to be on their toes. And, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of guys actually participate this weekend.
Asawar asking about Casey Thompson. I'll let you know what my expectations are before we cut Greg loose. Is basically that Casey Thompson is probably he's a top 5 quarterback in the Big Ten. I think the two top guys are C.J. Stroud and Aiden O'Connell. But after that, he's as good as anybody else. And that Sean Clifford, Tanner Morgan, take your pick, but he could be argued to be the third best quarterback. Peyton Thorne, third best quarterback in the conference, but probably in that 3 to 5 range. And so, he should throw 25 touchdowns this year and shoot for the first 10 or 12 dropbacks against Northwestern. He was throwing lasers all over the field and the pocket was perfect. And then for the rest of the half, they started to get some pressure on him, and he was still throwing the ball on the money, even though he had a hand in his face or somebody on his back. And then he's not going to be perfect for an entire game. So he was hit or miss in the second half. I think some of that had to do with just the law of averages was going to be that he's not going to throw the ball perfect for 40 pass attempts for an entire game, but also the pressure started to be more serious in the second half. I can't really comment too much on the North Dakota game. I watched probably 5 to 10 plays. I checked in a few times. That was a 3:30 game, right?
2:30 our time. Yeah.
Yeah. So 3:30 for me. So I was in on a few other games, but I checked in a few times, especially when it was 17 all. Then I paid attention.
Oh, yeah, you probably had to look then.
Yeah, I didn't notice anything in particular about Casey Thompson that I didn't already know.
I mean, you know what? I mean, it's a small sample size so far. We've played 2 games, but he hasn't really hurt Nebraska. Obviously, he's had a couple of interceptions, but those you can't put all those on him. And he's been a gamer so far, and he's shown flashes of. He's got some magician in him too. Is that he's really shown that he can get out of trouble and still make a laser like you were saying, just throw a laser right where it needed to be for a big play to happen. So he's exciting to me. Like I mentioned earlier, I worry a little bit about his durability and you need to clean that up on the line and keep him safe back there in the pocket, but. When he's got room to operate, and he's a pretty deceptive dude, and I really like his playmaking ability. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to keep watching him progress here as a guy that has the keys to run the ship. I mean, obviously he started some games at Texas, but was never really the guy at Texas. So, this is his chance, and I think he's done very well so far.
And somebody mentioned in the chat that he would be a top 3 quarterback in the Big Ten if he had a better line. Well, I get your point. So some people, when they rate quarterbacks, are basically trying to project statistics. I don't do that. I try to take that out of it and just say, regardless of what line's in front of him, I think he's the 3rd best quarterback, 4th best quarterback, whatever my ranking is. And I forget what I ranked him in the preseason. And I didn't rank Big Ten quarterbacks, but I ranked nationally. I put him in the top 20 in the country somewhere. So that's where I think he is, regardless of the line. And obviously, if he doesn't get protection, his stats are going to suffer big time. But I try to separate that as best I can. Gene Arthur Associates, folks, they have jumped on board with us here at the Voice of College Football, GBR, and they love Nebraska football, and they know that you do too. You can save some money by getting an instant quote. So basically, you just jump online at www. I always have to say that, www.jaainsurance.com, and you jump on there and you get your instant quote. It doesn't take long. And man, for home and auto, and I read down the list all the time, folks. It's any kind of insurance that you need, you're going to be able to find it there. So, and also keep in mind that you're going to benefit yourself. Obviously, you're going to sign up if you're going to better your situation. So why wouldn't you give it a shot? And then in addition to that, understand that you're helping some families in need. You can help us out by telling other people that we're here every Tuesday at 6 Central Time.
All right. And we'll be back next Tuesday as well.
Yep. That's the plan.
Win or lose.
Never mind me, says Whipple needs to adjust to the Big Ten. Passing 60% of the time ain't going to work here.
I've noticed that, I think early in the game they have been. The funny thing is that, the first drives of both of their games, they've really looked good. And then even starting the second half, they come out strong as well. But yeah, in my opinion too, there's been too much emphasis on the pass game, and you kind of see what happens here when you start feeding the beast here, Anthony Grant. That obviously all of a sudden that you do have a running game now that hopefully that's going to bring down this ratio of pass to run a little bit and equal things out a little bit as we move forward here.
Well, we can look at the Northwestern game, but against North Dakota, 41 runs, 21 passes.
Yeah, I mean, that it equaled out later in the game when they started running the ball. So, yeah. That's what you wanted to see.
Yep. All right, folks, we appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. Again, join Greg and his work over on HuskerOnline.com or Husker Online right here on YouTube.
Isn't it nice to be able to say that again? Oh, boy. 3 months with the handcuffs on. I didn't know who I worked for. But
yeah, I'll let you explain all that. I wasn't going to say a word.
I can represent the colors again, and I can use my mic flags again. And it's fantastic. So, yeah. Welcome back to Husker Online on the On3 network.
Nice. Now, this looks like a final comment that we can go with right here.
By the way, we just moved into the number 2 slot on the entire network on On3. We just passed Michigan on Sunday.
Okay.
As the number 2 site on the On3 network.
So get the second most traffic.
Yep.
Most views and all that. Clicks. Yep. Who's number 1?
Florida State.
I wouldn't have guessed that. Austin says here, I saw a graphic that used 4- and 5-star recruits as the metric for the talent of the Big Ten that had Nebraska as the 4th most talented team in the Big Ten. And I got to think Ohio State's 1, Michigan's 2, and Penn State's 3. Can about know that for sure. What's your response to that, Greg?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that really equals out. I love data. I'm not a data guy, but you gotta be able to coach that talent up and sustain it and stuff. And I don't think that equals out to the exact position that these teams are playing in.
Well, no, it doesn't. I think that's the point. They're not the
Yeah.
fourth best team in the conference.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's not an exact science, rating high school recruits and a lot is involved going in there. But when you got teams like Ohio State and Michigan, they're getting a lot more than the rest of the conference is getting. That they're obviously going to have a better chance to excel and perform to that level. So. Maybe one day Nebraska gets to that point where they're competing in the recruiting game like those guys, but not anytime soon until you can win ball games and start going to bowl games again and being relevant again.
And finally, from John here, I don't know if you've got a response to this.
Before you jump in there, I do want
Yep.
Colin there had mentioned that we are running a special at Husker Online on the On3 network that you can join for the whole year for $1. So it's a heck of a deal. Get on over there and you get a full free, a full year for $1 with, two of the top journalists, Husker writers out there, Sean Callahan and Steve Sipple, and you get all of that stuff and much, much more. So, yeah, this is your time that you want to go sign up for Husker Online. You're never going to get a better deal than this right now.
Yeah, I had pulled up something about Teddy Prohaska. I can't find it now.
I think Teddy's been playing pretty well here, coming off that injury last year.
All right. Nebraska Live, folks. Next Tuesday, 6 Central, 7 Eastern. Be back here. Bring some friends with you. We would love to expand the show and have more traffic in here. So please help us do that. Support the show so we can keep going right here at the Voice of College Football. Greg, enjoy the game on Saturday.
Well, we'll try. I got a couple of high school games to hit before that on Thursday and Friday night. So I'll probably be pretty tired. At least I'll have all of Saturday to rest up before I have to go down for that night clash with the Georgia Southern Eagles there.
All right, everyone. See you back here next Tuesday, 6 Central.